Good afternoon. Is this working? Yes? Yeah. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing? It's been really interesting. I feel like there's a lot happening, a lot of great ideas and concepts that are being shared, and I think I'm still pretty young. We've been active for about 5 years, but I think there's a lot of energy in the sector, which is always good to see. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Drawbotics, and we are a scale-up out of Belgium, and we're built on the belief that we can profoundly redefine the way people buy and sell homes. And we're going to go a little bit deeper into that and what our vision is for that. I forgot this one here. That's going to be important. Sorry. First things first, so the talk I want to have today is how we believe marketing and data can and will transform the home buying experience. Now, we've talked a lot about data and directly off of the rough data, I would say, of the user experience. What we're going to be looking at as well is why and how the user experience should be changed. So I'm sorry, I'm going to have to turn in circles here a bit to see everyone. But when we started Drawbotics about 5 years ago, and to give you some insights, we started 5 years ago. We're active today in more than 10 countries, and we have more than 120 employees. So it's certainly catching on, and I think the vision we have behind that is a big reason why. And so the first things when we started off at Drawbotics was looking at, or the reason we started off, sorry, was understanding that there was a big difference in how people would have the experience people would have when they're, for example, buying a phone, buying a pair of shoes, something really simple, and compare that to buying a home. And I think we truly believe that with technology and with a focus on that, there's a lot that can be done and that we can do. So to start off with that, I want to talk a little bit about Nike and Apple. And the reason why I want to talk about that is, why do you guys think companies like Apple, for example, have become one of the most successful companies in the world? They don't have specific features. Their computers are not that much more powerful than other computers or other computer companies out there. Same thing for Nike. I mean, their shoes are not that much different than any other shoe company they're offering. But the big difference is their focus on user experience and marketing. And that's one of the big things where we felt we could have a big impact. And so the company really started about that. And so the big thing that we're looking at when we're looking at the user experience is how we can truly improve that. And so a lot of people talk about, and I'll be talking about it a little bit later, the millennial generation and how that's changing and what's coming up. But there's one thing that companies like Nike and Apple understand really well, is that in the end, we're all looking for the same thing. We're all looking to every human being on Earth, and it's been like that for thousands of years. They want to be part of something. They want to be part of a community. That's why during the World Cup, you guys all cheer for England. I cheer for Belgium. Sorry for that World Cup, by the way. But that's what we're all looking for, and that's what Apple understands really well. Their message is not about them. It's about you. It's about think different. It's about just do it, right? So that messaging is really completely different, and that is what we need to, or we try to apply some of these things in the real estate sector as well. And so that community feeling is something, if I take that back to the real estate industry, and when we look at that is, when I talk to a lot of developers, and that's in France, in the UK, or wherever, a lot of the focus is on selling units, selling apartments, selling houses. Sorry. It is never about selling homes. And that is what people are looking for in the end. So obviously we're talking about the end user. We're not talking about investors, where it's much more of a rational decision. But don't forget that these houses and units, they need to be sold or rented at some point. So I think that's really important, is trying to understand where your customers are coming from and trying to make sure that you're able to tell a story for these people. So that's the community part I wanted to talk about. Let's directly dive into some examples of how that relates to the real estate sector more specifically. And the first one is really simple. We all know it. It's become really quickly one of the biggest companies in in the real estate sector. And it's their message. I mean, co-working had been around before. WeWork didn't invent co-working, but what they're able to bring, like message, and you can see in their mission statement as well, it's not about having a co-working space, it's about having a different way of working, having that balance between that work-life balance and working in an environment where you want to come and work every day. And so that's something they got really well. I also want to take you guys into something much simpler and still forgotten way too many times, is something as simple as photography. Stats have shown that even basic professional photography, or something as basic as professional photography, can accelerate sales to up to 30%. And we all know how important it is to sell not only at the best price, but certainly to sell fast, whether it is for developers or real estate agents. And so there's a lot of things that are still, these basics that are still missing in the real estate sector, but if you can see that with photos, the stats obviously are much better with videos and virtual visits and stuff like that. All right, before we move into me showing you one of the things we do at Drawbotics, for example, is quickly talk about millennials, because we talk a lot about that. Just an interesting stat, because we're always talking about how we need to be prepared for the millennial generation that is coming up. Today in the UK, the average home mover is 39 years old. So it's not about when the millennial generation is coming up, they're here, and they expect other things. And so I was talking about how we're all the same. The one big difference with the millennial generation, it's not such a big one. It's how they process information, right? Whereas in the past, we're trying to keep a lot of information out. Now, the millennial generation online, they want to access all of the information before they're going to contact you, whether you're an agent or a developer. They want to have access to all of the information, or as much information as possible, to almost already make their decision. So the sales funnel, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, has completely changed, and we need to put a lot more emphasis on giving that information, certainly when you're targeting a younger generation during your new development projects, for example. All right? So before I show you what we've put together as an experience, as a home buying experience, I just want to quickly, let's go through together what a home buying experience for a new development project looks like today. I'm going to find or see an ad on Zoopla. I'm going to see it on a billboard, wherever. It's probably going to have some vague 3D image of what the project is going to look like. I'm going to get in contact with the real estate agent or with the developer, and then he's going to show me a black and white floor plan of what my house or my apartment is going to look like. And so in today's world, we talk a lot about data, and we talk about it as well because it's important to work not only on the home buying, but also on the home selling side of it. But the first thing is completely improving that home buying experience itself. And so there's a lot missing there, but we try and focus on two things. And the first one is, together with the developers, try and understand that we need to try and tell a story. And so the best projects we've worked on with our clients are not the projects where we need to come up with a story and just say, okay, here's a building and you guys come up with a story. The best ones are the ones where the developer has actually had the thought about, okay, how are we going to target our audience? What is our target audience? What drives them? What are their values? What do we need in terms of messaging for these people? And so after that, obviously for us as a marketing company, it's much easier to come up and put a story to that. But that is really important, is to have a story that matches with the audience that you're going to have. So that's the first thing. The second part is the lack of information. We already talked about it. Black and white commercial floor plan. People want access to all the information. So this is one of the tools. It's one of the key tools we got out about 1.5 years ago, and it's having a lot of success. What this is so what you're seeing here can be integrated in any kind of website. It's as simple as an embed code, so basically like a YouTube video that you can integrate everywhere. And what we're trying, so we integrate those into project websites, wherever, for our clients. And what we're trying to do here is give on one end a completely new visual experience. So I'll have, I think it's a little video so that you can see what it looks like. So I can see it here in 360 degree, the entire building. You can see that a drone shooting has been done, right? Obviously, it has a full listing of the apartments that are still available. I can click on any unit and see which apartments are still available with the pricing and the surface. I can, instead of having my black and white floor plan, I have an actual, what we call a 3D shoebox, and I can actually walk through my apartment with with what we call a 3D visit. So this can also be seen with a virtual reality headset, obviously. And as you can see here, to complete that story about the user experience, this is what this is with the actual drone footage integrated. So even though there's not one stone that's been built of this project, this is what this guy will see when he buys this apartment 24, 36 months later. So again, make sure that comparison between that black and white floor plan and what you're getting here is completely transforming the way people experience buying a new development home. All right? So this is the first part of what of Revo, and a big focus is what we talked about, that visual experience and that user experience in general. What is really important is we're not only trying to impact the home buying experience, which is obviously important for you guys as professionals, we're also trying to impact the home selling way. And so understanding so that's, now we're going directly more into the data. Based off of Revo here, not only can we have an understanding of each individual person that went through our Revo, so we're not asking for what budget they're interested in or all these information that you would need to qualify a lead. We actually have all that information, right? Because we're analyzing the path that he took through Revo, and we can know, okay, what is his budget is interested, what apartment is he interested in, and all that stuff. So all that stuff we can analyze and obviously give to our clients. And instead of, like 5 years ago, focus on as many leads as possible, we're trying together with our clients to focus on qualified leads, making sure that the leads we do give to our customers with going through this tool, they're going to have information about what these guys want specifically, what their budget is. Do they want a 2-bedroom or 1-bedroom apartment, right? And so the reason I put the sales funnel graph on here is it's completely shifted, whereas before the sales teams, whether it's with agents or developers, would have a much bigger impact. Now, with the fact that you need to put as much information as possible, we need the sales funnel, it happens online a lot, and we're qualifying the leads already online for our clients. Okay, so that's for each individual person. Where it becomes really interesting is the fact that we're able to analyze and to have insights into everyone that is going to our tool like Revo. So now we're able not only to analyze what the total traction is on a certain project. To give you some really basic examples, we can know exactly if the people that are visiting are more interested in a 2-bedroom or a 1-bedroom apartment, we can see which apartments have the most success, which apartments don't at all. And so for developers, really interesting because you can be much more reactive in your commercial strategy with, for example, if you have the top 5 apartments that have the most 5 visits, well, it could be interesting to potentially raise the prices. Same thing for the apartments that have 0 visits, right? The bottom 5, maybe it can be interesting to lower the prices. And so we're able to not only look at the data from the traction that we're generating through Revo or through our websites or whatever, we're also able to look at that in comparison with what's actually being sold, right? A real sales dashboard and really understanding, okay, traction versus the real sales and what is happening in that regard. So this is what's really important for us, is not only trying to vastly improve that home buying experience for our clients, but at the same time building real marketing and sales tools that will help you guys sell these homes, as we talked about, much faster and at the best possible prices. All right? Any questions?
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Mohammed from Hope Homes.
Hi.
Talking of just online journey and experience of a customer, what are the patterns you've seen, given that you've got a product out there and it's being used, what are the patterns you've seen that makes a lead a better qualified prospect, but by just looking at their online behavior and analyzing their insights? So what are the patterns that make a lead a better qualified prospect? What have you observed so far?
Yeah, I think the first, it starts with having the right strategy in the beginning. I think, and it's always with the balance with what tools are you going to invest in, how are you spending that marketing budget in terms of tools and in terms of advertising. And if you don't do the proper analysis in the beginning, then obviously a lot of the people you're targeting are maybe not the right people, and so you're having, I think that's the most important factor, is you need to try not only to have a good analysis in the beginning and try to react to make sure you target always the right people. I wouldn't say there's one specific, obviously what's really important is these online tools that work better with projects that are targeted at younger people. If you're looking at high-end or for an older generation, we wouldn't even suggest tools like Revo, or not always, right? So you need to look at for which people this works best, but I think make sure you have a good strategy in the beginning, and then you can definitely see the results are and change your strategy all along.
Okay, that's fantastic. We're going to draw it to a close because we want to stick to time, but just join me in thanking Xavier for the presentation. Great job, thank you.